Hey guys, welcome to a quick explanation video. It's probably going to run a little bit long because I always run these a little bit long as far as what's going on. Basically, I'm going to try to commentate and intersperse Fighting Spirit Mania with Starcon 2024 from Seattle, which I feel like that's appropriate somehow. Wanted to add a little bit of variety to what's going on. I do want to note that there's going to be a massive shift as far as the level of play, and please give these guys a break. For example, you'll have guys that have a lot of time to dedicate to this game, like Artosis, where he kind of effectively does it for a living. And you have other guys like Sva, which I feel like a lot of camaraderie with Sva, because it's kind of like Gamer Dad, where you just don't have a lot of time to dedicate to this game. And this game really does, it benefits people who have time to dedicate to it, especially in large amounts of time. I actually feel like this is going to be kind of, I'm going to bring out the MS Paint, and I'll just share my vulnerabilities. I feel like oftentimes I'm kind of like I'm in a weird spot in the community because I'm a caster. I am not a top level player. I feel like there's a certain amount of organic clickishness that's not like malicious or anything, but it's kind of like the players group up because they play against one another, and there ends up being kind of a degree of camaraderie in the space of that. Let's start there. We're going to start as far as concepts. This is going to turn into a full-on rant video. That's where we're going with it. You got rivalry versus kind of the love. And I feel like part of what happens when you're in this thing and you're driven, you can get all that negative stuff that comes associated with it, where it's you know, envy and frustration. Also concepts. I think this is definitely something that happens in the United States. I don't know about the rest of the world. I'm just presuming so, where it's like, oh, this person's great at this thing, therefore they're somehow more valuable as a human being, which is totally ridiculous. But there's kind of the opposite thing where it's like we all love this thing and we're all connected as a result of it. And I feel like in particular in the space of rivalry, there is it's like the negative gets overcome by the positive, and that like redeems the negative. Does that make any sense? I feel like that is an aspect of it. And I feel like, particularly in Gypsy's victory speech, I thought it was a fantastic victory speech. That was the emotion conveyed, is we love this game, and it creates a certain degree of connection that ends up being kind of transcendent, where a lot of there's passion, and the passion is good, but all of everything gets turned into something, amalgamated into something good. And I really love that about this game and about this event. I feel like everybody kind of came in a little bit more. I don't know what was going on with everybody, but I feel like I don't know what was going on with Zen. I know what was going on with me and a couple other guys, but the emotion just felt heavier starting this. And it felt like everybody's kind of down. Maybe it's because of other stuff going on in the world or personal things. I know for me it was a personal thing. I know for a player, he was going through a really tough time. But it really felt like by the end of the day, all of that ended up kind of in the wash with just kind of a euphoric, united passion, united feeling. And part of it, that's really what I want to kind of capture with this series and make sure that all of it gets covered. If you have not seen the games that have been cast, go to Artosis' channel as soon as you can, by the way. I don't know if he's going to post it to his Artosis Casts channel or not, but the videos will be there for at least a couple days, so check them out. But so basically, I'm going to be covering guys, and you got guys like Sva, where, you know, Gamer Dad, he doesn't have a lot of time to dedicate, so be a little bit easy. It's not going to be the high level play, but I think the other thing that will do is that'll also highlight, that's kind of the aspect of it, is it's everything together. That also, this is a hard game, and that's also going to kind of highlight how really skilled the winners like Gypsy and Cross are. And that's not to be like, boo, you know, people who dropped out early in the losers round. It's more like everybody contributes. Everybody's presence there meant something, and it helped frame the entire thing. Hopefully that makes sense. I feel like I try to, I don't know. I'm a caster. I kind of end up in this weird spot. In fact, oftentimes I kind of feel like this, where I don't really have the time to dedicate to the game, and I know the amount of time that I do have to dedicate to the game wouldn't put me at the spot I want to be competitively, if that makes any sense. And so I know that would just create too much frustration for me, and so I kind of turn that energy into casting energy. And that also kind of makes me like that puts me in a weird spot where I'm kind of like an outsider but an insider at the same time. And I really feel, as a result, just honored to be able to connect with a lot of these guys, because I feel like, I don't know, I don't feel like there's that segregation, if that makes any sense. There's like, I see, it's weird because it's like I don't feel like that segregation is there, but at the same time I recognize that I'm not there. Like some of these guys are very, very close with one another. like just lifelong friends. And I know I'm not in that spot, but there's still guys here where I'm like, you were friends of mine, and I appreciate you. And it's, I don't know, I feel privileged is I guess what I'm trying to say, to be part of all this, and privileged to be part of this community. And so I also want to convey like all of the work that went in, all the people that showed up. You have like Zeski that came out from Australia. I want to make sure his games get cast as a result of that. And basically just the entirety of the effort of the thing ends up someplace as and documented. Even if it's not necessarily the guy who's the winner, because I think that's in the spirit of the tournament in itself. That's what I'm trying to convey overall. And I also want to do that as kind of like a challenge out there, as far as, and maybe this isn't even just for Brood War, maybe this is for Stormgate and for anybody else like watching down the line. I feel like there's a certain period of time between like 18 and like, I don't know, 25-ish, where you have, you know, this is the Lion of Free Time, FT here. And it really, you get so much free time here to do things. And this is oftentimes where people really get good at something, being at gaming or studying something along those lines. And then you get married, then you have kids, and then, you know, you're in a deficit basically as far as time to dedicate. I really think with whatever time you got, put your heart and soul into something, is I guess what I'm saying. And if that's StarCraft, so be it, and dive in it. But if that's Stormgate in the future, or if that's Battle Aces, if that's some other game, like, do the thing you're passionate about and dive into it and just go for it, is I guess what I also want to encourage people to do, because then cool magical stuff happens like this event. And it's, yeah, that's the other aspect I'm getting into. So towards that end, if you want to do that as part of the StarCraft community, please do, because we could use every bit of effort. Someone made a Liquipedia article for this after the fact, so it's even like small things like that that are very, very helpful. Money, of course, is helpful if you want to reach out to Zen and say, hey, how can I contribute to the prize pool or towards the venue or something like that for the next event? Maybe do that. I don't want to put too much pressure on him just in case he wants to step down. He's done a fantastic job thus far. It's a lot of stress. I'm in a lot of it's a lot for him. So I don't want to be like, you have to do it, but just in case him or someone else wants to kind of pick up the baton and make that happen in the future, find ways to get involved, even if that means coming and getting knocked out first round, or coming and being kind of the like pseudo, I don't know, the caster. This is going to be another quick side rant, and I had a fun talk with Raz. One of the reasons I love being, and this is just going to be the bonus rant out of the aspect. I feel like I've said what I wanted to say, and just also kind of goes to like my commentating and how I feel about it. I was having this conversation with Raz, and I was talking about you got conscious information, you got kind of unconscious information, right? I think the two vector, and oftentimes what'll happen is when you're learning a thing, a lot of the stuff goes in unconscious, right? It's you get muscle memory or whatnot, and then you know a thing, but you're not sure why you know a thing. I didn't add a second vector, which is grounded. So there's like conscious and grounded, which is like, I know that 3 Marines beats a Dragoon. And eventually what you can often do is just take the conscious grounded stuff, and or I should say you could take the conscious ungrounded stuff, like 3 Marines beats a Dragoon. That's actually conscious ungrounded. Like, that's a statistic I'm saying right now. 3 Marines beats a Dragoon with whatever micro. That's conscious ungrounded. And move it, and combined with the unconscious and grounded, the actual playing, eventually it kind of merges into a higher degree of knowledge. I feel like I have a good amount of conscious, ungrounded knowledge where I haven't been able to put the hours into the game to ground it. So I love being around guys that have the unconscious grounded knowledge, but also a lot of the conscious grounded knowledge in between, where they know their stuff about this game. It's nice just being in the space of osmosis of all of it. And also being around people where it's like, I want to learn that and I want to be around that. And I just want to kind of sit in that sort of energy, which is, I think, another really awesome aspect of the community. So hopefully in these casts, they're not going to be, for a lot of the rounds, they're not going to be the highest skilled guys. It's not going to be the S rank top tier BSL. It's not going to be Hasu League level in some instances. It is going to be more in the Chobo League space. But hopefully don't criticize people too much and appreciate the game for what it is, because part of what I want to reach out and be like is we should all be playing, we should all be contributing, because that's okay. We don't have to be the best. We don't have to be like the Korean professionals to still want to enjoy StarCraft and have it around and participate and be part of it. I guess that's that's the ultimate message I'm trying to get across here, which is I think part of the reason I realized how also as a side note how low my emotional affect is sometimes, because I was like reviewing the video really fast with Gypsy's speech, and I'm like, okay, how bad does it look? Like how close do I look like to me completely falling apart right there and just bawling? And I'm like, wow, I actually don't look that bad at all. But I was very emotional in that space of time, just so people know. So anyway, that's what's going on. And hopefully all of this is clear and you enjoyed the MS Paint. Whatever not, and enjoyed the 10-minute rant. Appreciate all you that are I don't know, I got 100 and so loyal viewers. And appreciate all y'all as well. Thanks very much.